What's up, everyone? It's me, back on the scene. Oh, it's been a couple of weeks since I sent out a video. Um, been open for almost a week again, post-pandemic. And I just thought I'd check in and let you guys know what sort of been going on. If you'd been following my videos so far, and you shop here at this beloved little second home of mine. So there are some rules that I sort of laid out that I would really like people to follow when they come in. Just to keep with the social distancing aspect of things. I have hand sanitizer everywhere. So please use that when you come in. And I have to encourage people sometimes. I don't know if it's because they think I've already had my fill of hand sanitizer or what, but I really would prefer it if people use that, because you're going to go around and touch everything. I see some people doing this, and I definitely want that to be stressed. Also, masks. Nobody actually seemed to have a problem with that. I think that's finally sort of sinking in this area. Whether or not it's always covering their nose is another thing. You think it's bad for you? Think about being the person that's working here for 6 hours, or for that matter, think about someone who's in the medical field and has to deal with patients all day. I mean, I sling the mask on and I get, one customer, then another. First one leaves, another one comes in, that one leaves, another one comes in. And, people who've been working in Targets, Walmarts, grocery stores have been dealing with this for a while now. So what I'm saying is, it's a long time for me too. So it's a small inconvenience. So I'm glad people are sort of abiding by that. The one thing I think people are having the biggest problem with is the time management. And I don't know if people really understand quite that I really want to keep things to a 15-20 minute max. Because as has been said, the time of exposure is not something that you want to have a lot of. So if I politely ask you to leave, it's nothing personal. I'm trying to kind of protect everyone else in here, protect my person at home who has immune deficiencies, and myself, because frankly I don't really want things to get to the point where I'm not happy with my decision to reopen. So that leads me to the next point, and I'm briefly touching on things here. I was a little bit conflicted about opening. I mean, it's a very weird time. There are so many places that have opened, and I think it's fairly expected that people should open. The people who are not opening, on one hand, are seen as careful people. On the other hand, they're seen as people who, what's wrong with them? Why aren't they open? I have a restaurant that's close to me that has opened again after 3 months of nothing, and they're still choosing certain days where they're not doing business, and I think that's really making some people a little crazy. So I'm trying to do what I can to accommodate people, but this is why I think it's so important for everybody to be on their best behavior, because I don't want to regret the decision that I made opening when I did, when the governor says it's time. Because I think there are enough people out there that are doing a really good job about being vigilant about these things, and there are a couple that just seem to have no clue. So I guess it's up to me to educate them. I just really want people to be aware of these things. So, and I know that my voice is just one out of, millions, and nobody's really, some people, they just don't care. They don't care about how you feel. The respect isn't there. So what I'm saying is I don't want to regret having opened, have either a customer get sick or have me get sick and feel like then I got to close for another 6 weeks, or, You don't want to go to the hospital, obviously. So, anyway, that's just sort of like a little thing of mine, but I do feel like there are some people that I'm not going to name names, but there are people out there who basically are not good with time management. They're not coming into the store with a specific agenda. They don't really want to buy X. They just want to browse X, Y, and Z. And I get that, because that's the way things were. Well, guess what? It's a new world. You kind of have to have some things in mind. And you can't just come in with the intention of just spending all day. And so it's also a little bit frustrating when people come in and do their sort of look and, you know, maybe they're here for 10 to 20 minutes and leave without buying anything. Like, find a $2 item. I don't care. And maybe I'm not, it's not like I'm going to hold this against the person, but it does feel in a sense like I'm putting myself on the line, my health on the line, and my loved one's health on the line. The least you can do is support a store that's been closed for 3 months. Does that sound bitter? I'm trying not to sound bitter. And it's a very small percentage of people that are doing this. But, you know, man up, people. That's all I got to say. I want to thank those of you who've been extremely supportive so far, because there have been some of you that have been incredibly supportive, even especially during this entire time that we've been closed. So, again, you have to have a little bit of an agenda if you're going to come in. I think it's only respectful of the other people involved in the situation. Now, where do I feel about where we're going with this? Well, it's going to be a slow process. And how has business been since I've opened? It's been sluggish, I kid you not. I'm not surprised. And there have been moments where it's been kind of busy, where people sort of want to check things out. If you're not into crowds, pick a time where you think nobody is really going to be there. Like today, Sunday, very slow. Good day to come in because there really wasn't much going on. Yesterday, Saturday, was kind of busy. So, you know, you can kind of tell when people are going to be around if you just want to be in a, you know, in a position where it's not a busy time. Again, I am also still limiting the amount of people in here to 3 at a time, so 4 including me. So, you know, that's another reason that I have the time constraints on people. But I will tell you that it's time to leave, even if there's no one else here, just for the sake of not wanting to be exposed for long periods of time to these things. So yeah, I feel like everybody is sort of kind of in this weird transition mode where when things were closed and I could sort of manage the curbside, that was actually good, because people were sort of it sounds terrible, but they were being very supportive because they knew that we weren't open. And then as soon as the doors open, it sort of feels like, okay, they made it through the pandemic. Everything must be great. They're back on track. And guess what? That's not how it works. Now's actually the harder time, because now all of the bills, the rent, all that stuff is going to start being back on schedule. And so now's the time we need the support more than ever. I mean, obviously, well, I can't say more than ever. Obviously, we needed it when we were closed. So, anyway, that's a little bit personal, but I just sort of wanted to kind of lay that out for people in case they're wondering what's going on. This is, I don't know how many fireside chats now. I guess it's time for me to start getting frank about things. All right, so, releases. Let's talk music for a couple minutes, and then I'll keep this short. So there's a bunch of stuff coming out in the next few weeks. A lot of stuff that have been pushed from the spring. I've mentioned some of these things before. But the next week, which is June 19th, we have Neil Young's Homegrown, which is an album that he recorded in 1975. never released it, felt it was too close to home to put it out there. Some of the songs ended up being re-recorded for other things. Anyway, that's a big deal. That's coming out. There will be an indie store version on vinyl too, which is a slightly different color or something like that of the record. We'll also have the new Bob Dylan CD, his first in 9 years of original material, Rough and Rowdy Ways. The vinyl does not come out for about a month extra, though, so just be aware that we'll only have the CD at first. And the new Phoebe Bridgers album, which, she's been quite a force. I think the last thing she did was the Conor Oberst collaboration. If you're familiar with Better... I can't even remember the name now. Better Community, blah, blah, blah. It had a long name. Anyway, she's great. So, and if you're familiar with her, you'll be really excited about that record. All right, then June 26th, there's a whole series of Rolling Stones reissues on vinyl that day. All half-speed remastered at Abbey Road. These were... everything from Sticky Fingers up until the last track. I don't think it has Blue and Lonesome, but everything else. So if you didn't get the 90s records, you want Bridges to Babylon, you want Voodoo Lounge, Steel Wheels, which is what, sort of 80s, 90s. All of those things will be coming out, Bigger Bang. And then also, like, if you want a really nice copy of Tattoo You or those things, half-speed mastered, black and blue. I think it's great that they're doing this. They're also releasing their new single on a colored 10-inch that day. So it's a big Rolling Stones day. Also a big day for Frank Zappa because his new box set of his material with the Mothers from 1970 is coming out on a CD set that day. Not vinyl, unfortunately. But there you go. Other things that day, Ray LaMontagne, Khruangbin, I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say it. Their last project was a duet with Leon Bridges, so you might be aware of that. Also Haim, the sisters, the trio, they're catchy and cool. And the Eric Clapton, B.B. King collaboration, Riding with the King, is getting reissued. I think there might be a couple extra tracks on it, and it's going to be on vinyl again. Which is something people have been waiting for a while because it's been out of print for a little while. All right, July 3rd, that day we have the new Willie Nelson, the Sparks record that has been streaming since mid-May, but the physical product, and also Paul Weller's new solo record will come out. And also they announced Black Sabbath's The End, which was that live concert that was the last one of their last tour, I guess. Had been out on CD before. I'm not sure it's been on vinyl before, but anyway, that's coming out. July 10th, we're up to the Grateful Dead, the deluxe edition of Working Man's Dead. We're also going to have the new Jayhawks album, the new Margot Price album that had been rescheduled from May. Glass Animals, Washed Out, Rolling Blackouts, and Rufus Wainwright. So quite a bit. Then July 17th, again, we're just getting loaded with stuff that was pushed back from the spring. The big thing on the 17th, I've mentioned several times, is the Fiona Apple Fetch the Bolt Cutters album, which will have a special colored version for the indie vinyl of that too. There's also the new Pretenders album, which had been pushed back to that day. The new Joy Division reissues of Closer, that album. It's the anniversary edition, plus Atmosphere and Level Terrace Part will all be reissued that day. The new Jarvis Cocker from Pulp, his solo record that had been rescheduled. The Dixie Chicks album that had been rescheduled. Proto Martyr, Jens Lekman, The Streets, and Gang of Fours posthumous in EP. There's now talk that Andy Gill may have actually had coronavirus. We don't really know yet, but it's sounding like it. That's unfortunate. Terrible. July 24th, the Bob Dylan vinyl, and then the 31st, the Psychedelic Furs reunion album. Then we're into August. So August, September, we still are waiting for the Killers album that had been rescheduled from May, so I'm not really sure when that's coming. But we'll also have new records in those months from Bob Mould, Erasure, Deep Purple, and Luke Bryan. And the big things to keep in mind are August 29th, the first of the Record Store Day drop days, the RSD drops. I'm thinking that maybe instead of calling them Record Store Day drops, we should call them Record Social Distancing drops. Or, I don't know, Record Social Distance 2020, something like that. But August 29th, September 26th, October 24th. So those are the 3 dates. If you haven't seen what is being released on those specific dates, go to the Record Store Day website and look, because it's all up there. And we haven't placed our orders yet, so if there's something that you think that you're really interested in, you might want to start thinking about letting us know so we can get those enough of them ordered and at least try for them. Yeah, that's kind of it. We haven't really come up with an entire plan for Record Store Day drops yet as to what specifically we're going to do. It just depends on what the situation is, if we're comfortable enough with a line yet, or if we're just going to do a curbside thing, which I kind of like the idea of, but I feel like it might also cause some chaos, so we'll have to wait and see exactly. But we'll keep you posted. Yeah, was there anything else I had to say? I don't think so, except, again, thanks to everybody who's been very supportive and patient, and it's been very hard for everybody, and I think it's harder for some than others. I had a customer come in the other day and say that his mother's parents had both passed away within 2 days of each other, and likely it was because of the virus. And that was not far from here, maybe a few miles. So it is out there. So I think we still need a fair amount of caution, and I certainly do not mind doing curbside and phone orders as we've been doing. So please, if you do not feel comfortable coming in and there's something that you want, go to the Facebook page, click the top where it says Shop Now. It'll take you to our store's Discogs page. You can see 98% of the new vinyl that we have up for sale there. And I think that, and if you have specific requests about, used records or CDs or new CDs that we have in stock, and you don't feel comfortable coming in, we'll just find ways to process your sale and make it easy for you. All right, I'm already running on too long. I just want to say thank you. Thanks for watching. You guys are great. Have another good week. Maybe I'll do another Fireside chat in a couple weeks. I'm going to have to get like a real well, maybe not a real one, but a virtual one going behind me or something. This is a little too, like, you're seeing the same thing every time. All right. Take care. Bye. Thanks.